First, I want to say I'm sorry. Towards this game and some other games I've had in the past, I've been a little bit polarizing in my opinions. Um, Believe it or not, I still think this game is the most balanced versus game I've played so far. And I try to make some criticism about the game, and I think it has been overshadowed by my strong feeling towards a lot of things. And for that, I am going to try to do better to not be so polarizing and be a little bit more critical on my thoughts about certain games. That goes for Granblue too, of course. If Granblue has some things I don't like, I'm gonna voice my opinion because I want games to be better. But I do want to say I'm sorry for being so strongly in my feelings, and I do not hate this game to its very, very core. There are a lot of things I do like, especially the person on the screen right now. Bardock is still one of my favorite fighting game characters of all time. I really do like this character a lot. And this game did get me a job for an entire year while I was in college, so I really didn't even have to work a shitty job like all the other college students around me. So I am forever grateful for that, of course. But that being said, I do stand on my opinions from the last episode of talking about Dragon Ball, in that I do think the makers of the game and their lazy approach is kind of annoying. And I do think the community could do better in voicing their opinion, especially if you're a pillar of Dragon Ball Fighterz. I think if things are bothering you in the game, it should be voiced. If you don't feel like there's any issues with the game, that's fine. But if you do find issues with the game, speak up. Just say something, right? The game's not perfect. The game is still a lot of fun, but there is things that could be better about it. And this is what this video is about. This is not about the community or the makers of the game, the producers. It's about the core aspect of the game, what I think should be changed for Season 3, even though I don't want to call this a wish list for Season 3 because I think a lot of this is not going to make it in. But this is a kind of a fantasy that I think a lot of the things should be changed in the game to improve all aspects of it. There's going to be two main points coming up. Let's start with the first one. The first one I think is the risk reward. In total, the game is kind of fucky. I think it's pretty bad. But there's only a few things that need to be changed. I think it could vastly improve the risk reward of the game. And what do I mean by that? I mean, a lot of the case that goes around this game is that somebody will get the first hit, right? Get the first hit, get knocked down, build a couple bar, maybe spend the bar here and there. And then you have the wake-up options. And there's a lot of them. And a lot of them lead towards very, very high reward for moderate risk. You have delay wake up from 1 to 30 frames. You have air options. You have super dash. You have reflect. You have mash. You have guard cancel. You have sparking. You have a lot of options, and almost all of them lead to big reward swinging into the other person's favor. So I do think there should be good defensive options, and I'll touch base on that a little bit later. But the main aspect is I want to reduce the amount of risk reward you have. So immediately one change I would make in the game would be, I haven't been to trading mode in a while. This right here. No, wait. Damn it, I can't find it. I think it's in character? No. Okay, I'll just describe it. The knockdown, the delay wake up knockdown, I think it should be reduced. It shouldn't be 1 to 30. It's too big of a gap to be ready for every scenario, especially on top of the other options I mentioned. I think it should be reduced to maybe 20 or 15, like 1 to 15, 1 to 20. There's too much of a gap between that. It's like you can't cover everything. So I think pressure should be a little bit more guaranteed in that aspect. If you reduce the amount of frames you could delay wake up. Another thing I would change would be raw tag. Of course, nobody likes raw tag, but I do think raw tag should be relatively good. I don't think it should be complete ass. I would just make it so it would be like guard cancel. So if you raw tag, right, it's still the same speed. It still goes the same way, but on hit or on block, there's a lot of recovery. So if you block a raw tag, even if you're airborne, you should be allowed to punish them. Just like a guard cancel if you block it. But on hit, they get sent flying back. You go back to neutral. which is a good reward still. You know, getting your character that's bleeding, and getting a fresh new character in that in an incredible speed like raw tag is still a very good option. But on hit, you know, you have a lot of recovery, but you get to send back full screen like a guard cancel. So it's still a good tool defensively, because I don't want to reduce the defensive tools that much. But it makes it so it's not as messy, because if you raw tag somebody, the momentum gets swung so much in the other direction. I think it should be reduced by making it like guard cancel. Another thing I want to change is how reflect works. Reflect being one frame is fine. I think it's okay for that to happen. But it shouldn't, and I think it's also fine for it to be able to cancel into itself, because obviously there's a lot of strings where characters move forward a lot, especially we have GT, right? GT moving forward is very strong, of course. If I can remember how to do this, I think it's this, right? Yeah. I think that's fine for you able to cancel reflect into each other, but the aspect of being able to cancel reflect into another move is a little bit extra, especially for the big reward you usually get. Usually it's a medium starter. If you reflect somebody and they whiff, like Adult Gohan, Kid Buu, they usually get medium starters, which is very, very strong. So I'm okay with reflect being one frame. I'm okay with reflect being able to cancel into itself, but I don't think you should be allowed to cancel reflect into other moves. You should be able to recover instantly, so you can like do other options, like you can jump out, you can move around, but being able to punish somebody for guessing wrong on their offense for a medium starter is just too much. I think it goes back to the risk reward. I think the risk reward is a little bit too high in that regard. But I'm fine with reflect being strong as it is. With that being said, I do think they should add one more mechanic. We have guard cancel, right? We have sparking. I think they should add some sort of push block for 2 meters that is similar to reflect, to my version of reflect, where you can cancel it into each other. You can't cancel it out of other moves. But if they make some sort of reflect on block that costs 2 bars, I think it's a worthy investment for defensively. It's not too cheap. Like 1 bar, I think, could be too cheap. I think 2 bars is good enough. 2 bars is a good amount of meter. You get good damage, right? So you're taking that bar and using it towards your defense, which is fine. I think it's a good addition to the game. So it makes it less guessy on defense, right? Raw tech's not as strong, reflect's not as strong, but you still have other options. Delay tech is not as strong, but they still exist. It's just not as crazy of a momentum swing if the opponent guesses right on those options. Because mash still exists, right? There's still other ways to swing. Sparking is still really good. To save on your point character, because you basically get to swing your momentum, but it costs something, right? Sparking is a huge mechanic and it costs something, so I think it's fine for it to reward you on defense like it does. But reflect, delay tech, raw tag, I think it's just for no bar. It's like it's too much. I don't think the risk reward is healthy for the game. I think it could be better. With that being said, though. This goes into my second point of the game being too long. The game takes very long. And if in my version of the game, if we're going to reduce the risk reward, right, the momentum swing, which means there's going to be a lot less damage. This might sound controversial. I think they should add double supers back. I think they should. If they're going to keep meter penalty as is, I think they should add double supers back or reduce the amount of blue life significantly. The constant switching in and out and the constant recovery of blue life is a pretty big deal in the game, and I think it creates a lot more time, because you don't want to cut the animations, you don't want to cut anything that's like too concrete. But I think blue life or double supers being added back into the game, like reducing blue health, would make the game a little bit faster, because it make hits mean more. It make damage a little bit higher. Personally, I'd rather have double supers back, because I think we've just hit the tip of the iceberg with double supers. I personally like them. I thought it had a lot of more creativity, and a lot of characters utilized it pretty well, honestly. And because it was cut off in Season 1, there's so many characters we never really got to explore double supers with, that I think it would add a little bit more spice to the game. I think there'd be some kind of interesting teams if double supers are back. That would be a lot more damaging. So I think it could be pretty beneficial for the game to add double supers back. I don't think it'll come back, but I think it'd be a cool addition. If not, I think they should reduce blue health just to make the game faster in my version of the game. Because that was an issue I thought about for a while was if you're gonna make defensive options less messy, right? Less risk reward to make the risk reward less ridiculous. The game's gonna be longer. So if the game's gonna be longer, that's also not a good thing. So I think damage should be increased somewhat if you're gonna make it like that. Um, that's just a few of my points. Those are the two big issues I have with the game fundamentally: is the amount of time the game takes and the risk reward being too much of a back and forth situation. Yeah, it's just a couple points. It's not too crazy, but maybe some of them will happen in season 3. I'll keep an eye out. I don't know if I'll be playing the game too much because of Grand Blue. I'm very hyped for Grand Blue, of course. The whole channel is basically about Grand Blue. But yeah, I'll keep an eye out for season 3. You know, I hope the game works out for people because my feelings for the game were strong, but I do not hate the game to its core. I think it still has a saving grace to it because it's still a very fun game, and you know it's created a lot of memories for people, and I think they could bounce back and make some really big changes because we've had a whole year, right? We've had a whole year to build up. So I really do hope the producers of the game, you know, make a big splash, really change the game up a lot. Also, one more thing I do want. I think fuzzies should be gone. I do not like fuzzies at all. It's just too messy. There are very few characters that really take advantage of it, and they take advantage of it extremely well. The Bardock one was extreme too, but the Teen Gohan, Adult Gohan 50/50s with the fuzzies is just too much. I think they should remove that. I don't think it's fun because if Snap meta is gonna be good, right? And I'm fine with Snap meta. You know, you could reduce Snap a little bit too, maybe the cooldown on it, but the guessing on the fuzzies is just too stupid. They should just remove that. But yeah, that's it for my points about the game. Once again, I'm sorry for being so polarizing in my opinions. I'll try to do better to articulate my thoughts about fighting games a little bit better now. But thank you for watching if you did watch this far, and you know, good luck in season 3 if you're going to season 3. If you're coming to Grand Blue like me, um, come on in, join the channel. We'll be keeping an eye on both games, of course. So take it easy, guys. I'll see you later.